Hi everyone, welcome and thank you for your response on my last video. For those of you who maybe took a gulp of coffee or went to the loo around the middle of the video, investigations did find a couple of rangers guilty of gross misconduct. They were indeed fired and handed over to authorities, and they are awaiting sentencing. At no point will I encourage or ignore or approve of any kind of assault or of that kind of misconduct, but I fully support the way the situation was handled in a civilized and legal manner. Okay, so that ends this discussion for now. I think it may be a good idea to shift my focus a little and maybe once a month or once in 2 weeks discuss a typically African or South African situation or topic. Although we no longer ride elephants in the street, we have Wi-Fi and all the modern trappings of the rest of the world, we do have a different mindset, and unless you are exposed to it for a prolonged period of time, it is hard to understand. Life is definitely a little harder here, but it keeps us very grounded, very creative, maybe a little less naive than our counterparts in the rest of the world. I would say definitely those ones living in Europe. Anyway, let's talk Harry and Meghan for a while. Yes, I saw Meghan in a red dress attending the gala for the Children's Hospital in Los Angeles. I really don't have much to say, really. With Meghan, it is wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. Even the dress was a repeat. I know it was not adjusted. The bulbous overskirt was loose to start off with. I do not care that it is a Caroline Herrera dress. It is the worst stitching, worst made dress I have ever seen on anyone. It is not the worst dress Meghan ever wore, but it is certainly the worst sewing I have seen on anyone. Not only does the dress pucker over the stomach area, that is just down to bad fitting, but all the seams and hems actually pucker. It appears that the tension for the sewing machine was not set correctly for the fabric, and then the seamstress had never heard of a steam iron or taught to steam and iron a seam until it is nice and flat, professional and neat. I really don't think it's a bad design, but they honestly did not do their best work for Meghan. Meghan, of course, do not know how to style herself, and we can forget about her picking up an iron or a steamer. I do not think she even knows what those look like. She likely wears an outfit until it is too creased and then throws it out. Goodness, I don't know. But unless she wears jeans and a knitted top, she always looks a creased mess. The hair, oh vey. She looked like she just got out of a shower, got dressed and left. But let me say this, in my opinion, this unbrushed tresses look far better than the olive oil tight bun. Again, she entertained on her word salad. Honestly, I'm not making this up. Go look for yourselves. The disorganized speech pattern which Meghan Markle regularly displays, where she does not finish sentences or change direction mid-sentence, could be a symptom of the use of Coke, but not the cola kind, if you know what I mean. Coke, not the cola kind, is a stimulant and could cause the brain to follow one thought with another so fast that speech cannot keep up. I mean, that is more or less in layman's terms, okay? This combobulated speech could also be a symptom of schizophrenia, bipolar, or mania. Also, go Google Coke jaw. It is rather interesting, and you may recognize something which I do not wish to talk about right now. Anywho, I'm so bored with old Mixadaisy and her wash, rinse, repeat. I really don't want to give her too much time. A 12-year-old has more style, class, and decorum than poor old Meghan at 43. So let's talk about Harry. He was supposed to return home on the 4th, but as of yesterday, he was still in South Africa, allegedly on Sentabali business. But I don't know. Like I said before, we are a strange bunch. When Harry was here on a royal tour, they could not move for the photographers and journalists. But as far as ordinary people went, organizers and the press had to collect people off the street to form a small crowd for pictures. People here in South Africa mostly do not give a damn about British royalty. For example, where I live, there are only 2.6% of the residents identifying as English speaking. People of color and a large portion of the Afrikaans community are not bothered about the British royalty. Many will tell you that their interest stopped after Diana's death. Now that Harry is no longer working royal, the people here are even less bothered about him. Anyhow, Harry visited Johannesburg, where he continued with Sentabali business, and maybe he also visited the African Parks headquarters in Johannesburg. Harry and other Sentabali stakeholders participated in a private panel and dinner while he was in Johannesburg, and that is about all we know. It leaked over the weekend that Harry did not leave South Africa on Friday or Saturday as expected, but that he extended his stay for a number of days. Why he decided to extend his stay or what exactly a number of days means, no one seemed to know. It is being speculated that Harry may travel to Cape Town to visit with his cousins, but no one knows whether that is true or not. He could very well be catching up with friends like Tanya Jenkins and Mike Holding. I even heard that Harry may be in a luxury rehab here in South Africa, of which we do have a few. There is the White River Manor Tranquility Clinic and the Journey Recovery and Wellness Center, to name but a few. These are truly upmarket and very, very private, not for the average Joe unless you have a very, very rich uncle, and I mean very rich. I somehow do not think that is true, though. I think Harry is one of those guys who will argue that he's not an addict, and he will argue that to his dying day. It could very well also be nothing more than a PA exercise to remind the world who he was before he moved to California, trying to show the world that he's actually a good guy. I don't know whether it would work, though. I think it is way, way, way too soon. The memory of how he treated his grandparents, what he said in the Oprah interview, his book, etc., is way too fresh. And would we believe it while Meghan Markle is still in his life? Or will we continue to chalk up whatever behavior to being a PR exercise. I have no idea how the royal family is receiving this new Harry, the man who now completed 8 engagements in 9 days. Nor do I know whether this is Harry trying to prove that people still love him and that he can go back and take up duty in the royal family again, or whether it is Harry trying to prove that he can still do his charity work without the royal family. I simply don't know. I can only rely on my gut, and my gut is telling me that something is up with the Sussexes. Maybe their marriage really is bust, or maybe they are executing some evil plan. As you guys know, I'm not fond of speculation. It keeps me awake at night. So I prefer taking my time and to bug others for the truth, or as close as I can get to the truth. So hang in there. I'll see what I can do and what stories I can come up with, what others think and what they base it on. Okay, guys, I'm going to keep it short today. I had a late start. Buying an old house is no joke. There is an Afrikaans expression which states, goedkoop koop is duur koop, which means that buying cheaply ends up being an expensive endeavor. And if ever there was a perfect example of this, then this house is exactly that. I got a builder to open up cracks at the front of the house so it can be filled in and the kids and I can repaint over weekends. They opened the first crack and a huge piece of plaster fell off, and this is what it looks like. I indeed have no words, just shock. Anyway, guys, while I spend time looking for some truth in a few situations, you hang in there for me. We'll chit-chat until I get some answers, okay? Thank you again for spending time with me, and please take care of yourselves until we meet again on the next one. Bye.